Christmas is over. 2020 was a real putz. What's got two thumbs and is sober? It's me, Project Dees Nutz. Welcome back, everybody. That was a great holiday season, wasn't it? Went by like that. Can't wait till 4th of July. Hoo-dang, everybody, hoo-dang. Yeah, you heard it right. I'm sober because we don't have any corona in the house. Hope everybody had a good holiday. Hope everybody was safe. Last time, if you remember, very, very long time ago, it's only been 3 weeks. We did the chaise lounge, as Elvis called it, or the activity scene house for my niece. You remember this one right here? This is her displaying it. Came out really nice. She loved it. Then, in this episode, we are going to finally, Brian Johnson, finally, do your stained glass, which will magically appear right here. This is his typical pose on his Facebook posts. He drinks everything from, you pretty much name it. Tea, coffee, hot toddy, martinis. Try to keep the intros short this year. Thank you very much, Mr. Dees Nutz. We really appreciate it. Faux stained glass. Sorry, Brian. I can't do a real one because the pieces are too thin and too costly. So, you know, here on Project Dees Nutz, we're always doing things on a budget. So, we like doing cheap and free. So, I'm going to try this. I stopped at Hobby Lobby. Put name here, Hobby Lobby. They are not my sponsors. But, I ended up getting this gallery glass. It looks opaque, but allegedly it dries clear. I've watched a couple tutorials on it from the company. Not quite sure how it's going to come out. But you know, here on Project Dees Nutz, things usually turn out really well for us. So, I'm making this picture for a friend of mine from high school, middle school. I don't know if he was in my grade school. At least 7 years of my life. He always had my back, every class. So this is basically what I come up with, or came up with. And he's always got a drink, coffee, tea, wine, martini, hot toddy, whatever it is, on his table, overlooking his balcony with his feet up in the red chair. And if you're wondering what this yellow is here, that's a replaced board that he put in his deck. It's not painted yet, so I figured I'd add that for a little character. Some of these are $2.99, some are $2.77. But I don't. Oh, and then simulated liquid leading contains no lead. It's just a liquid that looks like lead. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of glass, put it over this, and then we're going to take this and we're going to do all the lines. Let that dry for a day and then we'll come back and color it. It's just like kindergarten all over again. So that's where we're at on that one. So let's get to this project. You don't want to shake this stuff. It's not like paint. You don't want to mix it up, because you cause more air bubbles, and that causes a lot more problems. So you just decide where you want to start. You always want to try to start in an area where you can work comfortably and have your hand resting, because you want to try to get as even as a bead of this as you can. And you'll see it'll pop a bubble or something, and then you'll have a splatter. Just leave that alone, because once it's dry, you get a sharp razor blade and you can cut that right off. Also, with the black, when you're outlining, and I've got black in here, this is not black, so don't try to fill it in. Hold it upside down for a little bit. And again, you want to try to make a nice, even, smooth bead. And once it starts flowing, you just squeeze the bottle ever so gently. And it's going to come out here in a second. Come on, there it is. This is a lot thicker than the paint itself. So you want to go slower with this stuff. See how it bubbled there? Don't worry about that. Once it dries, you can just hit it with a nice sharp razor blade. And again, don't rush this because you want as even as a bead as possible. And then I'm going to turn it. And when you're joining, kind of let it sit for a second there and wiggle it in. That reminds me of a story so dirty I'm ashamed to think of it myself. Wiggle it in. Come back with the bead. It's all in the wrist, folks. This is awesome television. Okay. Turn it again to get these lines. Squeeze it ever so gently. Wiggle it in. And draw your lines. Okay? You get it? You get what I'm saying? Alright, so you get the idea. So I'm going to do some of this stuff, and then when it dries, we'll fill it in with the paint. Alright, I stopped here and let it dry because I want to show you. I purposely made these mistakes. So like this line is really thin. So I went nice on this side, but I went way too heavy, and I blobbed here and I blobbed over here. So you take yourself a nice sharp X-Acto knife and just make a nice clean cut. You want to kind of saw it so you don't pull up your other material, your good parts of the line. Push it against here a little bit. Gonna saw that. And peel it up. Same thing with this. Give it a little saw. Boop. Comes right off. So you can see I made a lot of mistakes here. Cut that one off. Make sure he's not attached. You don't like your line because it's too thick, then you're just going to run the whole line. So say I wanted this one to be thinner. I'm just gonna cut it. And again, like I say, make sure you got a nice sharp blade. Because if you don't, it's gonna get ugly. Okay? So now I got a nice straight line there. And you're gonna do the whole thing just like that. What I found out on some of my test pieces is that even though you think you get it the color next to the edge, when you're done, you hold it up, and there's like a real thin line on the edge here that dries, and it's so thin that it looks like there's no color there. So make sure that you're really covering this black when you edge. You're going to edge first. What I found was you want to make sure you're getting a nice even coverage and a nice full thick coverage. And don't be afraid to get it on your black, your outline, because when it dries, it's going to almost be clear on your outline marks. So what I'm doing with the pick here is I'm dragging it to make it touch that line. So hopefully I won't have it. And even if when you're done, you can always do a second coat too. If it's too thin in certain areas, you're not going to get a 100% coverage. So when it dries, it'll look a little lighter, like in a certain area. That's okay. You can go back over and you can just add another little segment of that. So now I'm going to add my cocoa brown to my railings. You want to work it in on the edge, again with the bottle itself. And again, don't be afraid to go too thick, because the thicker it is, the more solid the color is going to look. So you can achieve a bunch of different effects by going lighter in certain areas so that it doesn't look like you missed an area or whatever, I guess, so to speak, if too indo. And with the color, with the darker colors, it's really hard to see the bubbles. There's a bubble right here. A pin works really good. To get those out, or you can use a torch. But if you're using a torch, you're gonna just boop, put it in there. Pretty much that's it. See all those I don't know if you can see all those bubbles. Bubbles. Yeah. Unfortunately, when you pop the bubbles, you got to wipe your whatever you're popping your bubbles with off. And I also found that you do want to pop the bubbles. You don't want the bubbles in there, man. The bubbles suck. And you just mix it to make sure that you got a nice, hopefully level and even coat. And again, not worrying about going over a little bit, because that's going to dry up and you're not going to know that you even went on the black. And then we'll add our green trees. And I showed you at the beginning of the video the little sample pack. Don't waste your money. Those are really gnarly. I don't know how they can even sell those. with a good conscience. They're some are really thick, some are super thin, and it's very hard to work this stuff with a paintbrush. Beep, 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 beep. So that's all there is to it, kids. And I'm going to have to mix up a special pink color for Brian's pink drink. And I think I'm going to try to add some ice cubes to that too. And we'll show you a little bit of my idea here for this plank is I'm going to do the brown, or I'm going to do the yellow, and then I'm going to add some brown and try to get some grain effect in there. That's another thing too. You can mix colors and swirls and stuff, and it looks like that piece of glass is looking like that when it's done. So won't bore you with that. We'll come back when we do the yellow. See if we can do a knot. So many air bubbles. Alright, now we'll see if we can blend it in. And if this isn't thick enough, you can always go back over it. Do not torch it until you're done blending. Like even in the solid green, like do your stir stick first to get all the bubbles to the surface, because even though you're touching it really quickly with the torch, you're gonna dry out, you're gonna put a skin on that top area where you're popping the bubbles with the torch. And then if you have to go back and blend it after that, then you're gonna kind of have troubles. Get it in all the corners. Nice. Yes, nice. Also, I found out that if you do get it on the black, on your outline, it's really not that big of a deal because it dries. It's so thin, it dries like almost clear, so you can't really see it anyways. But I like to be a perfectionist. Well, we'll see how that turns out. That might look pretty cool. There it is. The epic Brian pose with his pink cocktails. Check it out. I put ice cubes in the cocktail. Pretty cool. I'm going to take this piece of PVC trim. I'm going to rip it to size, I don't know, maybe 1 inch. Yeah, probably 1 inch. And then I'm just going to make a box frame out of it. And then I'm going to rip a little groove. So when I have this ripped down, we'll be back. Okay. Well, per usual, I smooched the pooch, cut everything just right, but then I cut the wrong line on the top piece, and that's all I have of this stuff. This is PVC trim, so that's all I got. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this little finial on each side. So I'm going to have to drill a hole, and then I can glue this in, cut the top off, and then I got to paint it white. And it'll look like I meant to do it. Rawhide mallet. So now, love that. And it'll look like I meant to do it. Hey, problem solved. I've sanded all the frames, got them pretty smooth. Now, I'm going to crazy glue these pieces. I decided to put these finials at the bottom instead of the top, because then I can affix a chain to the top to hang it. So we're gonna crazy glue those out. We're gonna Gorilla Glue. Crazy glue is fabulous. Okay, now we're going to attempt to nail this, and hopefully I don't hit the glass or break the frame. I think that worked. Outstanding. Okay, finished that. Filled my holes. And put a screw on each side. Put a chain. There you have it, Brian man. There you go. It's a stained glass window. Came out pretty good. As I said, I screwed up on I cut the wrong line on the bottom. I added these little finials, painted them silver. Came out pretty good. That's the back side. No big thing. And I was going to do the resin. I was going to pour the resin on it. But I think I'm just going to leave it. And leave it as it is. So time for the Nut Ward. Welcome back to the Nut Ward. That was pretty good, wasn't it? I liked it. That turned out really well. Excuse me, get the heck out of my way. I got a point on my head. My dad always said, hey, get your pointy little head over here. What's going on in that pointy little head of yours? Excuse me, Mr. Dees, Nutz. Why you dressed like a dock worker? Because it's dang cold in my garage. It's only like 55 degrees. 55. I can't drive 55. Getting chills. All right, so let's try to do this quick. There's no such thing as quick with me. There's no such thing with quick with Mr. Dees, Nutz. The gallery glass that we used in this project, I edited out the part where I talk about these. To buy these, don't buy them. They're terrible. Some are runny, some are super thick like paste, and they don't work. These are great, and there's a ton of material in these things. You could do a ton of pictures with them. And what I did find out later on is that keep the bottle stored upside down at all times. It'll save you a lot of headaches. You won't get so many bobbles in your project. So don't use these, buy these. I like this stuff, it's pretty cool. And again, the thicker you go, the more solid that color is gonna be. You can do splashes of color in there to make it look like your glass is swirled with other colors. It's a cool thing to experiment with. Other projects that you could use it on, I was thinking, take a coloring book, tear a page out, tape it to the back of a piece of glass, do your outline, color it in. You could do it with the kids. You could do it on a painting. Take a painting off the wall, outline it, color it in. Now you got a stained glass picture of the same thing you got on your wall. Awesome stuff. Want to give a quick shout out to my buddy in California, Johnny. RV glass, California RV glass, whatever it is. He replaces RV windows, and I don't know what else he does actually other than replacing those windows. But call this guy if you get a shattered glass in your RV. He can fix it up. Boom, shakalaka. He bought these two pictures from me. Appreciate you, Johnny boy. And I'm looking right at the camera. I should be looking over there. Sorry about that. And to Brian out in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Awesome shout out to Brian. I appreciate it. He liked this project so much, he bought it. Yeah, bought it. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you. Coming up in future episodes, I will be restoring a vintage Buddha statue. Turned out really cool. That was awesome. And I have a commission job again from Johnny in California at RV Glass, California RV Glass. He wants me to do something with these old style cans. So Crazy Dees Nutz is going to come up with some radical crap for that. I don't know, can I say crap? Sorry if it offended anybody. We're going to do what we call in our family a giggy board. It's a game of sorry versus aggravation, but this one's going to be tricked out. I'm going to do some colored inlaid wood on veneer, and that ought to turn out super nice. You know, I forgot who I was. It's Mr. Dees. Your name is Mr. Dees Nuts. Don't confuse the people. Sorry. I'm going to restore a Greek statue. We'll be doing this guy. He's totally posed to be holding a Corona bottle in one hand and a six-pack in the other. So I just have to find a miniature that fits. And what do you do with cork? Friend down the street, Charlie. Shout out to Charlie down the street. For some reason, people give him a lot of bottle corks, so he gave them to me and said, see what you can make with these. Gonna make something out of those. We'll be having a lot of new stuff in the new year. Editing capabilities are... I should put like an explosion in there. If you don't want to watch the whole video, do me a favor. Don't turn the video off. Just put it on the side for 15-20 minutes. Let the video play. I need the view time. The view time and subscribers is what will be able to make me do this for a living. And I've got all sorts of ideas. I'm thinking about like going out in the field and hunting fossils and maybe doing metal detecting. Who knows? What else can I do? Girls, guys out there, DM me. What do you want me to do? You tell me what you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Robert De Niro, ladies and gentlemen. So to finish, everybody, as always, please like it, subscribe it, share it, and for God's sakes, watch the whole thing. The best part is my monologues and the note war. This is the best part. You don't watch this because you want to see me make stuff. Come on. Who we kidding? There you go, Robert De Niro again. So as always, God bless everybody. May He keep your family happy, safe, and well, and bless you in this new year. Hopefully this will be a better year. Highly doubt it with the people we got running the country, but don't get political. Excuse me, Mr. Dees Nuts. All right, kids. Oh, I did a Carol Burnett there. Hey, Mom! All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great week. Later.